What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of QuestScape. Today I am doing a Souls Bane review. I only played this in old school because I finished it already in my RuneScape 3 account. I think it ended up being a fairly mediocre quest, but there were still some cool moments, so let's check it out. To start the quest, you have to talk to this Lana girl outside of the Rift. This is just a little bit east of Varrock. She looks like an old hag because she is one. She's been standing out there for a few days waiting for her husband to come back because they think that their long-lost child stumbled upon this rift 20 years ago and has been stuck in it ever since. So being the generous, helpful adventurer that I am, I agree to go down and try to find her son and husband. You have to put a rope onto the rift in order to get down into it, and I was amused that my character walked around to the other side of the rift to put it on, but then had to go back to the other side to actually climb down it. A little bit funky-wonky there. Once in the rift, you go through what's sort of like the stages of grief for this lost child. The first one being anger, so you have to kill a bunch of angry animals. For some reason, they decided to force you to pick weapons off the wall that correspond to specific animals. And I'm not sure if there's actually a correspondence between like why the spear works on the bear or why the mace works on the rats. I mean, it kind of is like what the weapon that I would pick in real life to fight against these creatures, I guess, but it's kind of stretching it. That part was a little bit confusing initially, because if you don't pick those weapons off the wall, then you just do no damage. By killing the creatures, you fill up that rage meter at the top of the screen. Again, don't really know the point of that. The whole area just kind of felt confusing and weird. It also took forever to get through the first part of this dungeon. Thankfully, the later parts were a little quicker, and they just were a little bit more interesting as well. Once you clear out all the angry animals, you get a cutscene where you get to learn a little bit more backstory about this kid who ran away. And let me tell you what, this kid, thus far, like every other kid in RuneScape, is a piece of shit. He is so disrespectful to his parents. He claims that he just can no longer live with the rules of the household. And he even goes as far as to claim that his mother's outlook is pathetic. So this kid is seriously a shithead. It makes you wonder why the parents are even looking for the kid in the first place. But they must really, really love him. The next room deals with fear, and I like this one a lot more. First off, the environment just looks really spooky with all the hands, skeleton hands rising out of the floor. So I appreciated the artistic style that this chamber had. And you have to walk around and peer into dark holes. And on some of them, there will be a spooky ghost that peers back at you, and you have to end up fighting it. The first time that one of those popped up, it did actually kind of creep me out a little bit. It's one of the first times RuneScape's actually been a somewhat scary experience. So I like this one. This one also went a little bit quicker, because there's no weapons you have to pick up, and you can just fight the ghosts with your normal weapons. As you fight the ghost more and more and just discover it more and more, your character gets less and less scared of it. So you get used to it, you overcome that fear, and once you fully overcome it, you can move on to the next chamber. Again, though, we are interrupted by a flashback, so we can understand a little bit more of the context again. So it's now confirmed that the kid did indeed fall into the rift 25 years ago. And look at the little fucker fall. I really appreciate this cutscene. The next chamber we have to deal with is the Confusion Chamber, and the character models in this, the enemy that you have to fight, I love their animation. The way that they kind of flip hand and feet, just continuously rolling themselves over. It's pretty fucking creepy. They do a good job of that. And the mechanics behind the room are indeed confusing. You have to attack these creatures, and of every bunch of them, only one of them ends up being real and not just a hallucination. So it ends up taking, again, quite a long time to be able to figure out which one's the right one. Every time that you kill one of the doors disappear. Now, I was unsure if you actually had to walk through the door each time that you killed one of the real creatures. I did so anyway just because it seemed like it was working as I was doing it, but I didn't test any other methods out. Once you kill enough of the confused creatures, you get access to another cutscene. This one, you'll be able to see the kid crying in the corner, knowing that their entire future is pointless and hopeless. This was a nice cutscene. I think it added a lot. The next chamber is the hopelessness one. This one really confused me. This was the most confusing of all the ones. I'm pretty disappointing too. I like the character models of the hopeless creatures. You know, they were pretty creepy and hopeless. But the reused assets from the fear chamber, that was lazy. They could have done something a little bit different. You have to kill the creatures 3 times each in order to actually kill them. Because when you kill them the first or second time, their health gets down to 0, but they don't actually do anything. They'll just stop attacking you for a few seconds. This really confused me. This was the only part of the quest that I did end up looking up, ironically, as I was on the 3rd killing of one of them. So if I had been patient and waited 2 more seconds, I would have discovered it myself. I think they could have done a little bit more to indicate that you had to continue attacking them, like have your character say something after the first time you defeat one of them. That would have encouraged you to continue going forward. They did that with the fear room. The first time that you killed one of the ghosts in that room, they specifically made your character say something, and every subsequent time that you killed one of the ghosts, they gave your character a different dialogue. So it really pushed you down the direction of continuing to do the same thing over and over again, knowing that something a little bit was changing every single time you did it. There was no such thing in this part of the quest. Once you kill all of them, though, the Bridge of Hope spawns in and you can cross to the other side of the chasm, and this is the final part of the quest here. You discover the boy's father is confronting him, trying to convince him that it's all going to be okay, but he's not doing a good job of it. The kid is turned into some kind of 3-headed demon thing, and it's our job to kill it. And that's something I'm good at, so we can run up to it and just start slicing its heads off. Not a hard fight, even though all 3 of the heads can hit you at the same time. I took essentially no damage, so kind of an anticlimactic final fight. But once you end up killing it, that's about it. The kid gets transformed back into being his normal self. You know, he's 30 years old, so he's not the kid that the parents remember, but he's there and he's sane. And we all get teleported back up to the beginning of the rift. The parents head on home, leaving their kid once again out in the wilderness alone, but ignore that. And the kid himself, he gives you the reward, and that is the end of the quest. You get a little bit of attack XP and defense XP and like 500 coins, so not too much in material rewards. You get the ability to use the dungeon as future combat training. I'm not sure if this is actually a recommended spot to do that or not. The creatures go up in level significantly, so it's for a little bit higher level characters. Overall, this was a pretty mediocre quest. There were some interesting environments and character models, but really besides that, it was very fucking repetitive, a little bit cryptic, and just really light on the lore. I mean, it didn't expand the world of RuneScape in any significant way. It's really character driven, but when the characters just suck and you don't really care about them, it doesn't work very well. So overall, I would probably give this like a 5 out of 10. It's just not really worth it. Tell me what you think about the quest in the comments below. I'm always interested to hear your opinions. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day.